Look like Diana Taurasi.
Really good friends. We get along really well.
That really wasn't feeling Caitlyn.
Reality is coming now. Superhuman playing against 18-year-olds.
Look like Diana Taurasi is currently in the headlines for breaking her silence about Caitlyn Clark and their relationship. This was shocking.
Stop everything you're doing right now because Diana Taurasi just shattered the internet. I'm not kidding. Diana Taurasi, who made those famous statements about Caitlyn Clark that made everyone angry, is now saying something totally different.
Looking real spooky with Diana Taurasi. That is now, because she went on to say some things about Caitlyn Clark that has everybody scratching their head. Because now her whole energy about Caitlyn has changed. Her whole demeanor about Caitlyn has changed. And quite frankly,
and basketball fans everywhere are going crazy. This is a total 180 that has everyone thinking the same thing. What in the world happened behind the scenes to make this big change? Diana Taurasi, a WNBA legend who practically told
it's looking real spooky. I just gotta be honest, man. Let's head on over to X to see where all of this information is coming from. And just like I stated to y'all, Diana Taurasi was
everyone that Caitlyn Clark needed to be humbled when she joined the league has now said such nice things about her that it seems like she's talking about a different player. People, this isn't simply a small change in opinion. This is a complete change in personality that has everyone confused and wondering if someone replaced the real Diana with a clone.
Was a person. She was a person that really wasn't feeling Caitlyn.
The timing, the tone, and the fact that everything she stood for just a few months ago has changed so much that supporters are calling it eerie. Take a moment to think about this. This is the same woman who stared into the camera and told everyone that reality was coming for these collegiate players.
Me and Caitlyn are really good friends. We get along really well. We've had some great interactions.
Players who are going to play in the WNBA. The same individual who basically predicted that Caitlyn Clark would struggle against grown ladies who've been playing professional basketball for years. And now she's saying that they're extremely close friends and that she likes everything Caitlyn does, both on and off the court.
Right, when the college guys come out, they're waiting for them. I mean, Camilla's coming, Caitlyn's coming. There's more than just that are coming. What will the league have in store for them when they get there?
Look, SVP, reality is coming.
Okay.
There's
the math just isn't matching, and the basketball community is demanding answers. Let's rewind the clock and remember exactly what Diana said when Caitlyn was going to enter the league. She didn't mince words when she talked about these collegiate superstars going into the WNBA. Diana made it abundantly apparent that there were tiers to this game, and she wasn't exactly laying out the red carpet for the entering rookies. Her message was simple. You might appear
There's levels to this thing, and that's just life. We all went through it.
Of course.
And you see it on the NBA side, and you're going to see it on this side, where, you look superhuman playing against 18-year-olds, but you're going to come with some grown women that have been playing professional basketball for a long time.
Human playing against 18-year-olds in college. But you're about to face some mature ladies who've been doing this professionally for a long time. That reality check message wasn't given with love or encouragement. It was delivered with the kind of enthusiasm that suggested she was preparing to witness these young players get knocked down a peg or two. Diana was effectively telling the basketball world,
not saying that it's not going to translate, because when you're great at what you do, you're just going to get better. But there is going to be a transition period where you're going to have to give yourself some grace as a rookie. And, it might take a little bit longer for some people.
Right on.
Not to get too enthusiastic about what these collegiate players would accomplish in the WNBA, because the professional level was going to humble them real quick. She talked about transition times and giving yourself grace as a rookie, but the underlying message was clear. Don't expect quick domination. Fast forward to now, and Diana's singing a tune, so different it might as well be in another language entirely. She's talking about how she and Caitlyn are extremely good friends.
Congrats on your retirement, D.
Thank you.
And congrats.
Now, unfortunately, reality is coming to me now.
How they get along really well, and how she simply likes what Caitlyn does both on and off the court. She's praising Caitlyn's earnestness and work ethic, like she just found these things yesterday. Diana even went as far as saying that Caitlyn has pushed the game to new heights and that it's been fantastic to witness her growth. But here's where this whole issue gets extremely interesting and frankly a little bit fishy. The date of Diana's total change of heart matches precisely with Caitlyn's evident impact on the WNBA. We're not talking about tiny improvements here. Caitlin Clark single-handedly transformed women's basketball into a mainstream phenomenon. Record-breaking viewership numbers that nobody saw coming, sold-out arenas that were half empty just a season before, and unparalleled media coverage that has advertisers throwing money at the league like never before. It's almost if Diana looked at all these data, saw which direction the wind was blowing, and decided she wanted to be on the right side of history. The same person who was willing to see Caitlyn struggle is suddenly behaving like she's been her biggest supporter all along. The fan reaction to this entire turnaround has been incredibly insane, and it's split the basketball community right down the middle. You've got one group of fans that are genuinely bewildered about what prompted this drastic transformation. They're asking valid questions about when exactly this connection formed and why Diana's enthusiasm toward Caitlyn has altered so radically. These fans remember the reality check comments, and they're having trouble connecting that version of Diana with the one who's now praising Caitlyn like she's the second coming of basketball glory. Then you've got another segment that's not buying any of this for a second. They're calling Diana out for being false and opportunistic, arguing that her latest words are nothing more than deliberate positioning now that Caitlyn has proven herself to be the league's biggest draw. These admirers are pointing out that all the things Diana is now praising were clear from day one. So why is she behaving like she suddenly discovered them? And then there's a third group that's just delighted to see one of the league's greatest personalities finally giving Caitlyn her flowers, regardless of the timing or purpose behind it. They're emphasizing on the positive side of having a seasoned voice supporting the league's emerging star, even if it took a bit to get there. But let's be truthful about what's occurring here. Diana is pretending like she discovered Caitlin Clark yesterday, talking about seeing her play and being surprised by her earnestness and work ethic, as if these weren't obvious attributes that everyone else could see from the beginning. The woman who offered those reality check comments is now suggesting that Caitlyn has pushed the game to new heights. That's not simply an evolution in thinking. That's a complete philosophical revolution that raises major issues about what she was really thinking previously. What makes this even more ludicrous is that Diana's new comments show she's been closely tracking Caitlyn's career and development all along. But if that's true, then why were her initial words so dismissive and borderline hostile? Was she not paying attention while Caitlyn was setting records left and right in college? Was she somehow oblivious of the kind of player and person she was dealing with? These issues matter because they go to the heart of whether Diana's metamorphosis is genuine or merely convenient. The timing of this change of heart gets even more suspicious when you consider what's been happening in the WNBA lately. The league has witnessed extraordinary growth, and it's mostly been led by one player giving mainstream attention that the sport has never seen before. Sponsors are pouring money into women's basketball. Television ratings are shattering records, and suddenly everyone wants to be involved with this success story. Diana's comments also come at a time when other veterans in the league have been facing criticism for not being supportive enough of fresh talent. There's been constant talk over whether senior players have been receptive to rookies or if there's been some major gatekeeping happening behind the scenes. Maybe Diana recognized she was on the wrong side of that argument and opted to course correct before it was too late. The truly good friends comment is particularly interesting because it implies a personal relationship that goes much beyond just professional respect. But when precisely did this friendship develop? Was it before Caitlyn established she could dominate at the professional level? Or did it conveniently appear after she became the league's biggest star? The time frame counts here because it speaks to the reality of Diana's transition. What's also worth considering is how different Diana's energy is now compared to when she announced her retirement. When she finally hung up her sneakers, there was much of talk about handing the torch to the next generation and encouraging young players coming into the game. But her early words about Caitlyn didn't exactly sound like someone who was eager to hand over the keys to the kingdom. In fact, they sounded more like someone who was preparing to protect her territory. This whole affair raises fundamental questions about authenticity in professional sports. Are Diana's latest words real demonstrations of respect and adoration? Or are they calculated gestures aimed to identify herself with the league's biggest player now that the writing is on the wall? It's impossible to know for sure what's in someone's heart. But the dramatic change in tone is surely raising eyebrows throughout the basketball community. Part of what makes this so remarkable is that Diana didn't have to say anything at all. She's retired now, so she's not competing with Caitlin for playing time, notoriety, or headlines. She could have just stayed quiet and avoided this entire conversation. But instead, she chose to make extremely public comments supporting someone she previously seemed to have severe issues with. That choice hints there's more to this story than meets the eye. The media reaction has been just as entertaining to see as the fan response. Sports journalists who love a good redemption story are gobbling this up, presenting it as a senior player being mature enough to see skill and revise her mind when confronted with new data. They're treating it like Diana saw the light and chose to give credit where credit was due. But some media commentators are asking whether this is just opportune timing and political placement. They're pointing out that Diana's commercial interests, including media opportunities and prospective endorsement deals, may gain considerably from being viewed as someone who supported and acknowledged Caitlin's talent. Being affiliated with the WNBA's success narrative might be tremendously significant for her own brand moving ahead. What's really telling is how Diana's views contrast with some of the other veteran voices in the league who are still reluctant to give Caitlin full credit for the league's remarkable development. While she's now going all in on the adulation, there are still other former players who appear hesitant to accept just how profound Caitlin's impact has been. Diana's willingness to entirely alter her script makes her stand out from that throng in a way that appears almost too convenient. But here's what's really crazy about this entire affair. Diana's complete turnaround actually indicates that all the criticism of her earlier comments was perfectly merited. If she can now see all these wonderful traits in Caitlin and appreciate her tremendous impact on the league, then why couldn't she see them before? It shows that her original mistrust wasn't founded on legitimate worries about the game or true observations regarding talent levels. The fact that Diana has suddenly entirely changed her tune also raises issues about how other experienced players might be reassessing their own attitudes on Caitlin and the new crop of talent entering the competition. If someone as established and revered as Diana can perform such a dramatic 180, it might persuade others to reevaluate their own opinions before they wind themselves on the wrong side of history too. The whole affair exposes something significant about WNBA culture and how the league handles budding players. If a player of Diana's stature felt the need to provide reality check comments initially, what does it say about the atmosphere that new players are going into? The fact that she suddenly entirely reversed direction implies that those first statements might not have been about maintaining the integrity of the game or teaching new players humility, like she stated. At the end of the day, actions speak louder than words, and Diana's initial acts were to throw cold water on the euphoria around Caitlin's debut in the league. These fresh words are lovely to hear, but they can't erase the reality that when it counted most, when Caitlin was transitioning to professional basketball and could have utilized veteran assistance, Diana chose to be condescending instead of encouraging. Diana Taurasi's total reversal about Caitlin Clark has left the entire basketball world scratching their heads and wondering what really altered her opinion. Whether this is actual growth or just strategic positioning, one thing is certain: this turnaround is incredibly insane to behold, and it's got everyone talking about authenticity, timing, and what it really means to support the next generation of basketball stars.